Welcome to Inception UPSC. My name is Bhupendra Yadav. Today we will going to learn about the Carnatic War. In this video, we are going through Carnatic War first. We will look what happens to the Carnatic War. We will go through the Battle of Saint Thomas. We go for the Austrian Succession War. We will find out the reasons. We will find out the course of war and the outcomes of the war. So in this video, we will going to cover these topics. If you are interested, then this video is for you. Let's start the video. So let's set up the backgrounds. So there are the two main characters in the Carnatic War. First one is Anwaruddin. He was the Nawab of Carnatic. Second one is the Chanda Sahib. He was declaring himself as the Nawab. He was the contender of the Nawabship. But Chanda Sahib role is very minimal in the Carnatic War first. So now for Carnatic War first, we will confine to the Anwaruddin. Anwaruddin was a Nawab of Karnataka. So what happened to the war? War started in the 1746 to 1748. Let me tell you about the Carnatic first. So Carnatic was the semi-independent state. Earlier it was the Suba of Mughal. And Sadatullah Khan was the first one who carved out the Carnatic from the Mughal Empire and make it as semi-autonomous. Why it is semi-autonomous? Because Carnatic never declared himself as a independent state. Rather, they declare Mughal as their emperor and they are the ruler of the region. So that's why they are the semi-autonomous state. Just like Hyderabad, Awadh, Bengal. Sadatullah Khan, without the prior permission of the superiors, that means Mughals, made Dost Ali as the new Nawab. And Dost Ali make his nephew, that is Anwaruddin, as the next Nawab. So Anwaruddin is the nephew of Dost Ali. Now, what was the reason why Carnatic War first take place? That reason was lie in the Europe. There is no major reason for which we can say the Carnatic War is take place is an Indian reason. It's a purely European reason. Why? Because in Europe the Austrian Succession War was going on, and there are the two players, that is Britishers and France, those who want to place their person as the king of Austria. Why they want to control the Austria and want to place the person of their wish? Because Austria at that time control Italy. They control Italy, and Italy was the gateway. Italy was the gateway of Asia and Europe. Italy lie in the Silk Route, in between the Silk Route, and it is the gateway for Asia to Europe and Europe to Asia. Why European wants to control this route? Because it is the major trade route to trade with Asia, Southeast Asia. So if someone is controlling that route, that means he was controlling the entire trade of Europe and Asia. So both the player, Britishers and French, want to control that trade route through the placing their person as a king of Austria. So the Austrian war is going on. Even Britishers and French were not only the players who want to who was interested in the Austrian Succession War. In the British side, the Russia and Dutch was supported, and in the French side, the Prussia, Spain and Sweden was in support. So what is Prussia? You can say the present time of Germany can be considered as a Prussia. So there was the region in the Europe, and the war is going on. That create rivalry between French and Britishers. Because war is going on in Europe, that impact in India also. In India, French and Britishers also stationed. They also trade in India. Everyone want to establish their supremacy. They want to threat another contender. So there are events going on in India. What happened in India? Britishers seized the ship of France uh, that make angry French and start the rivalry or start the war in India. That make the excuse to start the war. So what the happened? Britishers seized, captured the good carrying ships of French. In response of that, East India Company in Britishers was in control of Madras. East India Company was in control of Madras. French launched an attack on Madras to capture Madras from the Britishers. I want to tell you one thing that this all thing is going in the Carnatic, and Carnatic was not the property of Britishers, neither the property of Carnatic, British French. That was the property. Carnatic was the property of the Nawab, and at that time the Nawab was Anwaruddin. The Nawab was Anwaruddin. He was the owner of the Carnatic, you can say, because he was the king. When French launched attack to capture Madras, Britishers immediately reached to Anwaruddin and then said that okay, French was the owner of ship. That's why we captured their ship. But Madras, you are the owners of the Madras, and why French want to capture the Madras? Anwaruddin immediately questioned and immediately countered French and asked why you are seizing Madras, even though East India Company is not the owner of the Madras. I am the owner. French said, we are capturing Madras in the name of you, and after seizing the Madras, we will deliver to you, to Anwaruddin. Okay? So that was the promise made by French, and Anwaruddin accept that promise. Okay, you snatch Madras from the East India Company and hand it over to me. That was a deal. That was the promise. French capture the Madras and deny their promise and deny to deliver Madras to Anwaruddin. That make Anwaruddin angry and that make natural friends of Britishers. Now at the time Anwaruddin and Britishers become good friends because uh, French broke their promise. In response of Madras, Britishers want to attack Pondicherry because in the Pondicherry, French army were stationed and Pondicherry is controlled by French. Britishers are planning, Britishers and Anwaruddin are planning to attack on Pondicherry, but at that time the Battle of Saint Thomas was take place. In the time Battle of Saint Thomas was take place, I told you that French control Madras, French capture the Madras, and Britishers are preparing to attack on Pondicherry. When they are preparing to attack the Pondicherry, an event take place in Europe, that is Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. That means Britishers and France stopped their war in Europe and signed a treaty, that is Aix-la-Chapelle. When war stop in Europe, then they have to stop in India also. That means Britishers are planning to attack on Pondicherry, but that never take place. In India, I told you that French and Britishers are going on there with their rivalry. Admiral Boscawen was leading Britishers and Joseph Francisco Dupleix was leading in India, leading France. So what Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle did? Aix-la-Chapelle stopped the war in India also. It stopped the war in Europe as well as in India also. And it restored the all seized territory which was taken in the during the war. That means you can say that those territory, those goods, those ships which are captured by the Britishers, they have to restore to France. And similar to the France, similar French captured the Madras, they have to restore to Britishers. That means they going to the back the position at the at that place they started the war. So that all was going on. The outcome of that event is that we got the Dupleix, we got the foolishness of our ruler, that how simply we can trick our rulers, how we can make the promise and how we can make them fool very easily. Okay. So that expose the stability, that expose the firmness, that expose the strong characters of, sorry, expose the weak character, weak character of our rulers, that create the appetite, that create the will among the French and Britishers that they can control the rulers. So that was the outcome of Carnatic War first. In the next video, we will going to the Carnatic War second.